This is Markevis Furyus Nias, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, Simply the truth is the latest, the new is deeper than music, The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, Simply the truth is the latest, the new is deeper than music,
What up, what up, what up? It's Markevis Furyus Nias. Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I'd like to say what's up to everybody listening to us on podcast land out there, whether it be Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, or Cast FM. Here on Deeper Than Music Radio, we like to talk to amazing, up-and-coming, and well-known acts, and we like to talk about the music behind the music. Ladies and gentlemen, we have special group here today, indie artist, number one for the genre worldwide on, Reverb Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the PondHawks here on Deeper Than Music Radio. How you guys doing?
Hey, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. How you doing? Hey, thanks for having us on the show. We appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Jory and Mario.
Jory's the one with the higher voice.
Yes.
You know.
Okay. So, we were talking about, they're based out of Chicago, and we were talking about how cold it is out there. So I hope you guys are keeping warm.
We're trying to. You know, it was so cold out this morning. Our agent had his hands in his own pockets. I mean, it was cold. It was freezing. I'm telling you.
Wow. So, I guess my first question is the name PondHawks. How did you guys come up with the name? Such a unique name for you.
Thank you for asking. I'm glad you asked. A pondhawk is another name for a dragonfly, and it's actually a species of dragonfly. And the pondhawk, the hawk of the insect world that glides, skims over the surface of the pond, snapping up like mosquitoes and stuff like that. And actually, we came up with the logo before we came up with the name. The PondHawks came up with this guitar, which is a very similar to a guitar I play with the band, and we kind of put dragonfly wings on it, and says, hey, this could double. This is a pretty cool meld of two different worlds, and it became the PondHawks.
Wow. And for the people listening, how would you describe your sound and what you're bringing to music and your genre, or just music in general?
Well, I think we have sort of a love for classic rock, the 60s and stuff like that, the Beatles. And we've always tried to play music kind of from that era.
Okay.
So when we started writing music, we came up with our own stuff and brought a little psychedelic stuff into it, but we created our own sound, but that was our influence at the time. Mm-hmm. And since then we're pretty good at kind of, doing different genres depending on what we want to play.
Yeah, you see, Mark, as you're in the entertainment field, entertainers or writers or whatever, we're all chameleons of one sort or another. We take on what our surroundings are. When Jory and I were surrounded, that was our genres of music. And even though we're doing original, fresh new tunes, it's got a little bit of the flavor we take on from the surroundings.
Okay. So that's good, because that's leading to my next two questions. Who are your influences? Who influences the PondHawks musically?
Well, number one, you got to say the Beatles. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
That's what drew Jory and I together. Wings.
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 Paul McCartney.
Even Wings. So we were huge Wings fans, and we hit it off, and the Monkees. I mean, the Monkees.
Oh, yeah, the Monkees.
Hey,
yes.
with the Monkees,
Yeah,
We've actually gotten to work with the Monkees a few times, and great people, and actually got to work for Paul. And,
we did some stuff with Paul. Yeah.
Nice photo shoot with Ringo, but with the Monkees, actually in a working kind of wonderful people, wonderful as our Paul and Ringo, correct?
Oh yeah, it's great. We opened twice for Davy Jones.
But you know,
Wow.
on the other side of the coin, Mike, Mark, I'm sorry.
No
Mark,
problem. No problem.
We also, there's other artists, like I'm a huge Michael Nesmith fan on his solo stuff, and I'm a huge Jim Croce fan. Jim Croce, and when you say Jim Croce, you gotta mention his lead guitarist, Maury Muleisen.
Okay.
Great people. Unfortunately, aren't with us anymore. But
well, you know, and I think what it is. Okay, so you had the Beatles and Wings, and then you know, like all these people that kind of happened just before then. They were playing folk music.
Yeah.
And you know, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and they were telling stories. And that's what we like to do in our own music. We're trying to tell a story. And we just love, because some people have their own interpretation of the song, which is really good, because if you write a good song, people can relate to it personally in whatever happened in their life. You know?
Exactly.
Well,
I say I say like the best music is the most relatable music, you know, that people can connect to. So I understand where you're coming from in that aspect.
And we always leave the outcome open-ended, so people can draw their own conclusions, you know. So like the song Winter Wine, you don't know if you've ever heard Winter Wine, you know, somebody's over there toasting Winter Wine. It's a holiday song, and you don't know, is the person deceased? Are they just on vacation? Are they you know?
Yeah.
But we leave it up so that people can relate with their own story.
Right.
Like you said, open-ended, like a song that popped up in my head. I can't remember the artist's name, but that song, Tom's Diner. I always thought that was a pretty open-ended or very open song. Yeah.
So people, if they can relate to it in some way, and you know, we have like fans, and when we do a new song, we kind of ask what their take is on it, because we're just like curious to see what they thought, and we know what we thought when we wrote it, and it's really cool, because there's stuff that sometimes you never thought of.
Yeah,
true. Sometimes you write things subliminally, and you don't. Psychosomatically, you don't even realize you're writing about. And then we ask them, and you know, it's cool. You get such a different take on every song.
Yeah, and I think words matter in music, and we try to be not as much straightforward with our lyrics, but we try to be more poetic.
Yeah.
So when you listen, you're painting a picture in your mind.
A 3D picture. So that way, you know, there's very many different venues they can take this song at, you know.
And when we produce the music, we try to make it, if people are listening on earbuds or headphones, that there's sort of in this 360 space of sound where it goes around your head, left and right, and things like that. Because I think that also adds to the dimension of music. It's like it's no longer like left and right, but it's everywhere, and you're inside of it.
Well said, Jory. Actually, make that 5D.
So before I definitely want to showcase your music, and I actually have queued up Afraid of Love. Can you give us the rundown or the story behind Afraid of Love before we play it here on Deeper Than Music Radio?
Yes. Originally, the song we wrote with the verses were from a song we wrote called Mojo, in which we were using metaphors, different colors for different moods and different feelings, like angry red inside your head, jealous green, you know, and the blue, and you know, it was like, and so that was really great verses, but in Mojo, the song, it was terrible choruses. And, you know, I says, well, let's shelf this. We'll hang on to it. So then we wrote Afraid of Love, and we had everything. We didn't have the verses. We had the chords, we had the melody, we had the choruses. I go, wait a minute. And then we looked at Mojo and says, yeah, we could take this and we can kind of massage them in a little bit to make them fit the template. And it worked. It just worked. And it's really about being afraid to love, but it's about being afraid of the rejection of love.
Oh, okay.
And So, and is it about somebody who maybe was burned in a bad relationship, somebody that maybe grew up in a household with a bad relationship, and they're afraid, I'm not getting into this thing, or what. To be romantic love. It's just love of your fellow beings in the world. If you don't love and you go through life not loving, man, you've really missed out on something.
So you really haven't. You haven't lived like you said. Okay.
Yes.
So here we go, all the way up in Chicagoland with the PondHawks and their song now, Afraid of Love, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
This is Greg of Greg in Good Company, and you are listening to Deeper Than
Such angry red inside your head, you never smile. Emotionless instead without love. Metallic gray, the price you pay for self-exile. In shadow every day without love. The years are mystifying, crying for the heart you're dreaming of.
Deeper the music, yes, the PondHawks. Love it. Love the song. Love the song. And love it even more with getting the story behind the song. Definitely a good tune.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thanks.
And the song has done a lot, I understand. This is the one that's number one worldwide on Reverb Nation, correct?
Well, actually, that's the song that we're promoting now, and it's also in one of these playlists, and it's right now it is trending as the number one song on that playlist.
And it did make the Grammy Awards ballot.
The first ballot. It made it.
Yeah, that's right. Grammy Award. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Grammy Award. Yeah, that's phenomenal. I know you guys gotta feel proud that this song is doing big things.
Oh yeah, we're thrilled.
Yeah, I'm glad. But more than that, or any like award or anything like that, we're really happy if it touches somebody's heart.
Yeah,
that's if it touches one soul or a billion souls. And the cool thing is, man, is that nowadays with cell phones, everybody can hear it. We have fans in countries we'll never visit. People, their languages will never learn.
Yeah.
Languages will never learn. But it makes them feel good, or it touches their heart or their soul, and that's what life's all about. It's it's a great thing.
So
it's universal.
I wanted to get your take on. You guys have been around some greats, the Monkees. Before I forget, are the Monkees like they are in the show? Were they like that?
Well, let me tell you, Davey. Well, Davey was even more hilarious. He was like stand-up comedy. We'd have our dressing room be like this one theater we would play in St. Charles, Illinois, and then he'd always be across the hall, and he'd come in before the show. Hey, what a minute, did this one, and blah blah blah, and, and I did this one, and did and it's like, oh man, hilarious stuff. And then he'd go, and we'd open for him. Then he'd go on, and he'd be telling the same jokes and killing with them. And he was great. The quintessential performer. Mickey Dolenz, I had opportunity to work with him in Franklin Park, open for him. Great guy, hilarious. I mean, that's great. Michael Nesmith. We never worked with Michael Nesmith, but we were on his video ranch. Michael Nesmith's video ranch, VR3D, and he video ranch through a record release party for us for our Blue Light album in 2016.
He gave us a shout out, and we had our record.
Great guy and a genius.
Wow.
He hosted it. Yeah.
Great, just wonderful people and very creative people. I think they got a raw deal because they were just happen to be these genius people that happen to be playing in a band in a sitcom.
Yeah.
But they really were geniuses under all those layers. Mm-hmm. And
they could play.
And I remember Mickey saying, sure, we were just playing the parts of musicians to be like, the people in Star Trek playing intergalactical astronauts. He goes, but we became a real band. He goes, that would be like the people in Star Trek actually becoming intergalactical astronauts. So
yeah,
I think that transcended a lot of things.
I wanted to ask you guys, since you've been in the music, your careers have been with great people and a very vast time span. How would you describe throughout that time? Because throughout the time with music and technology has changed a lot. Like you said, now, you can reach people on the phones. You can reach people worldwide through different mediums and social media. What's your take on technology and how it's changed throughout your career?
It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And it's a double-edged sword of a blessing. The main thing is what we're reaching people that we would never, never have reached. It had this been the 60s or something, wouldn't have the technology to do it. But it's also a saturated market.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people out there. But the fact is, we're out there and we're touching people's hearts and souls. And that's the main. So it's a win-win situation.
Well, I think you have to really know social media, and you got to know how to connect and get people engaged in your music, and you as a band and your personality and stuff. And I think it gives you more access to a bigger audience than, say, yeah, like back in the 60s, you actually had to be on a record label, and they did all that work. So now, as independent artists, you can make your own music, and you can just put it out there on the internet, and with some good ideas and good marketing, you can reach a lot of people that, like Mario said, we would never have been able to have them hear our music.
Yeah.
We just found out, like Spotify, like one of the countries that
Australia.
What
the heck?
We just got stuff. Yeah,
we're huge in Australia.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
go.
Yeah.
So that means if you flush a PondHawks album down the toilet in Australia, it goes counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
So the next song I have queued up is Orange Sunset Time. Can you give us the story behind the song?
Yeah, it's somebody who's frustrated in their relationship,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and it's time to either stand up or walk out, and it's come to that point in the road. You've come to the
fork.
to the fork in the road, and Yogi Berra was an old baseball guy, great guy, and he said, these yogis, he goes, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. No. Anyways. No. So you got to go left or right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that's what it is. You come to the fork and take it or leave it, baby, but soon, because my clothes are going out of style. And actually, mine already have, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, so it's just kind of a relationship that was there, and then something went astray, and then the two could not decide if they wanted to stay together or not.
But you get to draw your own conclusion at the end, whether you think they did or not.
Okay. All right. So I'll be listening in and let you guys know my what I think the story went or where it went. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, we're here with special guests, the PondHawks, Orange Sunset Time, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Hey, this is Ella Reed, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
Was an endless bliss, and this we never grew tired of. Oh, I didn't have much, but if the going got rough,
PondHawks, Orange Sunset Time. And I'm going to say that the fork in the road decided to move on. That's my conclusion.
I would have thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Good call.
I like how the song, your both of your voices complement each other, and the way you guys harmonize and do the verses. I like that. Definitely.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, that's why one of the reasons we got together. It was not about music at all.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, I had met Jory. Jory was one of Paul McCartney's photographer, and
Okay.
actually had one of her photographs. Paul wanted it on his album, and elaborate. on that.
I did a lot of photography, like Rolling Stone, People, Newsweek, publications, and I got to photograph Paul McCartney many times during his
Wow.
tours,
Mm-hmm.
and I wound up doing a book about it, a photo book that's Billboard did. I mean, that's how we got together, because I was I would do like lectures at Beatle conventions about Paul McCartney, because I was considered like an expert.
Wow.
So that's how I met Mario.
Right, and he did use your. He wanted this one out. This one photo on his album that Jory took, and of course she's not going to say sorry, Paul. Too bad.
Yeah,
I don't want it on your album. I don't want the fan.
And then he invited me to a party in London too.
Very cool. But anyways,
Wow.
yeah. So I meet Jory at this Beatle convention. I think she's like this salesperson, and I see this picture of this. I just had to have. I was at this concert. It was the last song, the last night of the Flowers in the Dirt tour. They're doing
At Soldiers Field.
Soldiers Field in
Chicago.
Chicago. It's
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
I go, I didn't think anybody would have taken a picture of that. That's great. So I think she's a salesperson. I go, hey, how much is that over there? And she goes, $70. And I go, ugh, $70. And I go, well, yeah, okay, I'll take it. And she goes, you seem like a nice guy. Give me 35. She's okay. Oh, this is nice. So anyway, get the thing, and she's ready. She's getting it. And then she takes a pencil out in pencil. That's how they do it. The pros do it. I didn't know this. But anyway, so she takes it out and she starts writing something on the matting, and I think she's writing the price of the picture. And I go, hey, what are you doing? Oh no, you're ruining the picture. No, she goes, no, I'm signing it. I took this picture. I go, wow. I'm like, wow, this is very cool. Anyways, and she's like, oh yeah, I take his pictures, and I go, oh, and then I tell her that I got a friend of mine, Randy Reeson, who shot our Midnight Howl video, and he had also been asked to shoot 48 hours worth of Paul McCartney's Follow Paul around 48 hours for his it was the Space Within Us video. Yeah, it was. And anyways, and I says, well, I invited them both to this rehearsal hall that we used to rent. And I says,
Mario was in a band.
yeah, and she didn't know, and I didn't really care about the band thing. I wanted to be the fly on the wall, listen to like Randy, who's doing Paul's video, and her who's doing Paul's just still photos. And I go, two, geniuses in their own right. And I was like, I'll be the fly on the wall. Check this out. This is going to be so cool. And here comes the band trudging. And, all right, we're going to have a rehearsal or what? I go, wait, we're doing this thing. And I says, well, otherwise we're going to leave. I go, okay. I go, would you mind if we have a really brief going over a few things? We have a big gig coming up in about 5 days. It was a Sunday. We had a gig on Friday the 13th. Do you remember
Friday
that?
the 13th.
That was a biggie. And and Randy had to leave, but Jory goes, I'll stick around. I want to listen to the band. I go, okay. So I see her sitting on the sidelines, and she's mouthing along to like some of the songs. And we're doing a lot of covers back in those days. We didn't do as many original songs. I go, she's singing along. I go, hey, she was a good sport to come and show us all her, her photos. Like, hey, come up and share my microphone, and we'll sing. And she is like perfect, spot on harmonies to these cover songs. But even more important, Mark, is her voice sounded like mine. It sounded like we could be brother and sister. We got that same kind of timbre in our voices. I go, wait a minute. I go, wait. I can't ever let this thing go. This is a once in a lifetime shot. You're gonna find somebody with the same vibration in your voice. And I go, after we're done, and okay, thanks for having me. Like, come up and sing with you. I go, wait a minute. We got a gig in 5 days. Really big. It was a really big gig too. I says, would you do the gig with us? And she's like,
I said, are you crazy?
And I says, well, define crazy. What can I say?
Yeah.
No, but anyway, so I go, come on, do it. And she did it. And then it was great. And we just recently watched the video that somebody had captured. And I was like, wow. And it's just like we had been, first night we ever played together, never rehearsed together besides night. But we looked at the video and it was like we had been playing together for decades.
Yeah.
So it was just you guys just meshed well. I wanted to ask,
it was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to ask.
Well, it was kind of,
Go on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I was saying that because for me, I hadn't done the music thing in a long time because I was in bands when I was younger. And sang. So, and then I had this opportunity and it was kind of like, and, they were doing about 40 different songs and it was like I had 3 days to learn it. So it was kind of like.
She did a great job too.
Yeah. And then they put me right in the middle of the stage too.
So it was like you guys were meant to be. And like when you guys performed, it was like for the first time, like you guys been performing for years. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like coming home. It was like, it was like, I'm home. This is what it was meant to be all these years of. Yeah,
and then we started writing songs.
Yeah. Actually, a couple of weeks later, after she had decided to join the band, and she's had a friend up in Minnesota, in the St. Paul area, needed a jingle for his radio station. We knocked one out in a week and recorded it, and that was the first thing we wrote together. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we've been writing together for close to 14 years.
Wow. How was Paul McCartney? How was that experience? I mean, you guys, worked with a legend, took pictures of a legend. How is Paul McCartney?
Well, Paul McCartney is very down to earth. And I had seen him many times in different places, photographing him, press conferences. And then, I think the fun thing was to actually be invited to a private party in London.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, wow, I'm going to be at a rock star party, and there were only like 90 people invited to this party. And, you can't like do what you would normally do, run around and take pictures of people. You just had to like behave yourself, So it was just fun to kind of watch Paul in this restaurant. He rented out a restaurant. Linda was there and his band. And it was a party for the launch of the album that I had a photo on. So that's why I was, Tripping the Live Fantastic. And the thing was that they had MTV was there. They were shooting video. It was pretty spectacular, experience. And of course, there I am kind of like following him around like the shadow, like, oh, don't turn around, Paul, and see that I'm looking at you. One of those things. I got to be professional, It's like when I walk outside, I can scream or something. Say, oh, yeah, I just saw Paul. But yeah, it was in London. And it was mostly Paul's crew that toured the 89-90 tour, which he did like 1 million shows. So it was all people that worked with him. So what was interesting about this is like, wow, I'm at a party with Paul McCartney. Everybody's, there's a buffet, there's a veggie buffet, everybody's eating. And Paul is walking around at every table and talking to people. Okay. And the thing is, not all that interested because they see him all the time, right? He's the boss. And it's like Paul's like furniture to them, and then just taking this all in, I'm like, I can't believe it. That Paul McCartney's talking to them. They're kind of like, talking to each other, and it's like, like go away or something. Paul, we're busy. Though it was fun. And when Paul and Linda came in, I was standing there, and I said, Paul kind of paused, and I said, hey, Paul, I'm the one that took that. And he kind of looked at me. He said, which photo was it? Because, there were several photos on that album. And I got in the position of the photo because it was very unique what he did and why he liked that picture. And then he kind of paused and he looked at me when I got in that position and he went, no, it was more like this. And he got right in the position of the photo. It was great. And then, I said to him, oh, I'm so thrilled that, you chose my photo to be on your album, as a photographer. And he said, and I said, I want to thank you for doing that. And he says, no, he said, I should be thanking you. He said, I saw thousands of photos and yours was one of the best. So,
Wow.
That's the point where I should have just fell down on the floor,
Yeah.
like
What
passed
a
out.
humble- What a humble guy!
Really?
What a gracious host! Eh?
Very
Yeah.
down to earth. You could just talk to him, and we had conversations and took pictures, and there was a lot of party stuff going on. It was fun. It was really fun. Great.
So that's
experience.
awesome. We have, like, as with all my interviews, all my great interviews with fantastic bands like yourself with rich music history, we got 5 minutes left. And before I close out with your Midnight Howl, I wanted to give you guys a chance to, because I know when people hear this, they're going to be like, wow, where can I hear more of the PondHawks? What are they doing? This is shameless promotion times. What projects do you guys have coming out, shows coming out, and where can we find you on social media?
Well, Mark, actually, we're working on 5 brand new songs as we speak, all in different modes of completion. It's coming out next year. We will be playing to whoever would be desperate enough to have us, But anyways, we don't care. We do thousands of people. We do one every year for 8,000 plus people, or we'll play in a living room someplace, or we'll do a bar with an acoustic, with our acoustics. Just we'll get the band, we'll all harmonize, do our stuff. It's just the interaction. It's a double-edged sword that we wield. We have the writing, producing, and putting out the albums. And okay, it's like taking a photograph. Bam, that's it. That's the way it's going to be forever. And then there's the live stuff. Totally different animal, where you're going to get different feedback every night, and something different that's going to go wrong. All right, every night, but you live for that. It's cool. It's like doing improv. Every night.
Mm-hmm.
So you can find us on the internet. We made it easy for everybody. Whatever platform it is, like, let's say Facebook.com/the PondHawks, ReverbNation.com/the PondHawks, Instagram. So just, the PondHawks will just come after everything. So you can find us.
Okay. And
we have the official site too, PondHawks.com. So.
there you go, PondHawks, Dragonfly. Didn't know that. Learned something new today on Deeper Than Music Radio. So, closing out another fantastic interview. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your story behind the music and stories with working with greats as the Monkees and Paul McCartney. Midnight Howl. What's the story behind this song?
Midnight Howl is about love lost. Love lost that can never be regained. Love lost permanently, but the message goes on. You can never have that love back again, but you never ever forget that love. love can come and go physically, but mentally, the love is always there.
Yeah,
You can never destroy real love. That's the message.
Wow, powerful message. Another great song. And ladies and gentlemen, again, and PondHawks, thank you for taking the time to be guest on Deeper Than Music Radio. And we're signing off and closing out with Midnight Howl here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
What up, what up? This is Matt James, all the way from Canada. How's she going, eh? And you're listening to Furyus on Deeper Than Music.